Hey everyone, welcome to reading the Bible to cats. Guster is looking out the window, which is cute. All right, well, let's pounce on um, Judges chapter 9. I just briefly glanced at it and it looks like it's a long chapter, so we'll pounce on it. By the way, I decided to listen to one of my videos last night as I was trying to sleep, and it was, well, I think it was my most recent one, and I totally I totally fell asleep to my voice. There really is something about the cadence or the way I talk that is like a human sedative, I guess. I just put myself to sleep. Um anyway, just like Guster's doing right now. He's got a little fluff buzz on his fur. You know, when you're a black kitty, everything shows up on you. Anyway, let's pounce on Judges chapter 9. Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, went to his mother's brothers in Shechem and said to them and to all his mother's clan, "Ask all the citizens of Shechem, which is better for you, to have all 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man? Remember, I am your flesh and blood." When the brothers repeated all this to the citizens of Shechem, they were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, "He is our brother." They gave him 70 shekels of silver and the temple of Baal Berith, and Abimelech used it to hire reckless adventurers who became his followers. He went to his father's home in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, escaped by hiding. Then all the citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo gathered beside the great tree at the pillar in Shechem to crown Abimelech king. When Jotham was told about this, he climbed up on the top of Mount Gerizim and shouted to them, "Listen to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you." One day, the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves. They said to the olive tree, "Be our king." But the olive tree answered, "Should I give up my oil, by which both gods and men are honored, to hold sway over the trees?" Next, the tree said to the fig tree, "Come and be our king." But the fig tree replied, "Should I give up my fruit, so good and sweet, to hold sway over the trees?" Then the tree said to the vine, "Come and be our king." But the vine answered, "Should I give up my wine, which cheers both gods and men, to hold sway over the trees?" Finally, all the trees said to the thorn bush, "Come and be our king." The thorn bush said to the trees, "If you really want to anoint me king over you, come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, then let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon." Now, if you have acted honorably and in good faith when you made Abimelech king, and if you have been fair to Jerubbaal and his family, and if you have treated him as he deserves, and to think that my father fought for you, risked his life to rescue you from the hand of Midian, but today you have revolted against my father's family, murdered his 70 sons on a single stone, and made Abimelech, the son of his slave girl, king over the citizens of Shechem, because he is your brother. If then you have acted honorably and in good faith toward Jerubbaal and his family today, may Abimelech be your joy. and may you be his too. But if you have not, let fire come out from Abimelech and consume you, citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo, and let fire come out from you, citizens of Shechem and Beth Millo, and consume Abimelech. Then Jotham fled, escaped to Beer, and he lived there because he was afraid of his brother Abimelech. After Abimelech had governed Israel 3 years, God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the citizens of Shechem, who acted treacherously against Abimelech. God did this in order that the crime against Jerubaal's 70 sons, the shedding of their blood, might be avenged on their brother Abimelech and on the citizens of Shechem, who had helped him murder his brothers. In opposition to him, these citizens of Shechem set men on the hilltops to ambush and rob everyone who passed by, and this was reported to Abimelech. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, moved with his brothers into Shechem, and its citizens put their confidence in him. After they had gone out into the fields and gathered the grapes and trod in them, they held a festival in the temple of their god. While they were eating and drinking, they cursed Abimelech. Then Gaal, son of Ebed, said, "Who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem, that we should be subject to him? Isn't he Jerubaal's son, and isn't Zebul his deputy? Serve the men of Hamor, Shechem's father. Why should we serve Abimelech? If only this people were under my command, then I would get rid of him. I would say to Abimelech, call out your whole army." When Zebul, the governor of the city, heard what Gaal, son of Ebed, said, he was very angry. Under cover, he sent messengers to Abimelech, saying, "Gaal, son of Ebed, and his brothers have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Now then, during the night you and your men should come and lie in wait in the fields. In the morning at sunrise, advance against the city. When Gaal and his men come out against you, do whatever your hand finds to do." So Abimelech and all his troops set out by night and took up concealed positions near Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, had gone out and was standing at the entrance to the city gate, just as Abimelech and his soldiers came out from their hiding place. When Gaal saw them, he said to Zebul, "Look, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains." Zebul replied, "You mistake the shadows of the mountains for men." But Gaal spoke up again, "Look, people are coming down from the center of the land, and a company is coming from the direction of the soothsayer's tree." Then Zebul said to him, "Where is your big talk now, you who said, 'Who is Abimelech that we should be subject to him?' Aren't these the men you ridiculed? Go out and fight them." So Gaal led out the citizens of Shechem and fought Abimelech. Abimelech chased him, and many fell wounded in the flight, all the way to the entrance to the gate. Abimelech stayed in Arumah, and Zebul drove Gaal and his brothers out of Shechem. The next day, the people of Shechem went out to the fields, and this was reported to Abimelech. So he took his men, divided them into 3 companies, and set an ambush in the fields. When he saw the people coming out of the city, he rose to attack them. Abimelech and the companies with him rushed forward to a position at the entrance to the city gate. Then 2 companies rushed upon those in the fields and struck them down. All that day, Abimelech pressed his attack against the city until he had captured it and killed its people. Then he destroyed the city and scattered salt over it. On hearing this, the citizens in the tower of Shechem went into the stronghold of the temple of El-Berith. When Abimelech heard that they had assembled there, he and all his men went up Mount Zalmon. He took an axe and cut off some branches, which he lifted to his shoulders. He ordered the men with him, "Quick, do what you have seen me do." So all the men cut branches and followed Abimelech. They piled them against the stronghold and set it on fire over the people inside. So all the people in the tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women, also died. Next, Abimelech went to Thebez and besieged it and captured it. Inside the city, however, was a strong tower to which all the men and women, all the people of the city fled. They locked themselves in and climbed up on the tower roof. Abimelech went to the tower and stormed it. But as he approached the entrance to the tower to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull. Hurriedly, he called to his armor bearer, "Draw your sword and kill me so that they can't say a woman killed me." So his servant ran him through and he died. When the Israelites saw that Abimelech was dead, they went home. Thus God repaid the wickedness that Abimelech had done to his father by murdering his 70 brothers. God also made the men of Shechem pay for all their wickedness. The curse of Jotham, son of Jerubbaal, came upon them. Whew, okay, everybody, that's the end of Judges chapter 9. And like I've said before, I think Judges could be a Netflix special or some kind of series. It's very intense and full of action. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to see if there's anything in the study notes. There are quite a few study notes. Well, let me see if I can read Abimelech at Shechem real quick. Let's see what else. Yeah. Well, let's read the study note on verses 1 through 57. The account of Gideon's son Abimelech and his violent rule over the Shechem area is recounted in this chapter. Abimelech is not called a judge, and he appears to have been more of a brigand or political military adventurer than a deliverer of Israel from an oppressing enemy. He died as he had lived. His skull was cracked by a millstone, and he was finally killed by his armor bearer. It is well possible that Abimelech's career was described solely to give a feeling for the violent, unsettled state of affairs during the time of the judges. If that was its purpose, it can be said to have succeeded. Shechem was an important city in central Canaan, first built and inhabited during the patriarchal period. Runes dating from the Canaanite era give evidence of a sacred area that was probably associated with the temple of Baal Berith or El Berith. Archaeological evidence compatible with the destruction of Shechem by Abimelech indicates that its sacred area was never rebuilt after this time. About verse 4 here. Ancient temples served as repositories for personal and civic funds. Gifts as well as the payments of vows and penalties were part of the temple treasury. The phrase reckless adventurers probably refers to mercenaries used to accomplish political or military goals, a common practice in ancient times. A fable may be defined as a narrative in which animals and inanimate objects of nature are made to act and speak as though they were human beings. The word fable is not found in the Old Testament, but two fables appear in this passage and 2 Kings 14:9. Well, I think that note was talking about the trees, the trees asking for a king. Okay, and then here's another study note. Let's see here. While the men used bows, arrows, and spears, women helped to defend the tower by dropping heavy stones on those who came near it. The upper millstone was the upper revolving stone of a mill. It was circular with a hole in its center. Grinding grain was women's work, usually considered too lowly for men to perform. Abimelech was killed by a woman using a domestic implement. Yeah, it's interesting how even today, and in certain areas of the Middle East, it's like considered such a dishonoring thing for a woman to kill a man in battle. Okay, well, those are some of the study notes. There is this other study note. Let's see if there's anything interesting in it. Judges 9, Abimelech at Shechem. Gideon's son Abimelech attempted to become king of Israel by taking control of Shechem, an important commercial and political center. He was given funds from the temple of Baal Berith, also known as Baal of the Covenant. Baal, or Baal, was the Canaanite storm god and the god of fertility. Further references to the temple of their god, the Tower of Shechem, and the temple of El Berith all appear to regard the same temple. Several archaeological findings at Shechem relate directly to Judges 9. A great fortress temple excavated there has been identified as the temple of this chapter. It was constructed in the 17th century BC and lasted until the city's destruction by Abimelech in the 12th century BC. The largest temple yet found in Canaan, it measures 70 feet by 86 feet with foundations. Ooh, sorry, everybody. My startle response is really ridiculous. Um, I guess that ringtone is loud. Um, okay, I'll call. That's the kitty's mommy. Because I'm not their bio mommy, and I'm really not their adopted mommy. I'm their auntie. So I'll call her in a bit. But I wanted to finish the study note and say like a brief little prayer. Where was I? Yeah, yeah. So it's 70 feet by 86 feet with foundation 17 feet thick. In front is a courtyard with a sacred stone, 4.8 feet wide, and blah blah blah. We don't need all the measurements. The sacred stone may be the pillar where the coronation ceremony took place when Abimelech was declared king. The city gate from the time of Abimelech was excavated on the eastern side of the site. It was from this point that Abimelech's rival, Gaal, observed Abimelech and his men approaching the city, leaving the security of the walls of Shechem. Gaal engaged Abimelech in battle but was defeated. The gate is an impressive structure, some 54 feet wide and 44 feet deep. And there's some more details, blah, blah, blah. Evidence of massive destruction from the time of Abimelech has been found throughout the site, attesting to its razing of the city. Okay, everybody. Whew. That was intense. Intense. That was biblical, of biblical proportions. There was something I was going to say. What was it? I can't remember, but that's okay. Let's say a prayer and then I will. There was something I needed though that I was going to. Oh, yeah, maybe if you all could pray for me because I just realized that all my I'm not that technologically savvy. And I just realized all my YouTube videos are like taking up space on my phone, my iPhone. And so I have to move them to the cloud. Of course, you'll still see them, but I have to figure out my phone storage situation. And then I think I want to get a computer because I really just have the laptop and my iPhone. But I think what I'm saying is I have to up my tech savvy abilities. So say a prayer for me that I don't procrastinate and that I can learn. As you can tell, I don't edit these videos because I actually don't know how to edit. That's why I don't do it. Anyway, let's say a prayer. Lord, thank you for this channel, and I pray that you'd help me, kind of figure things out with how to, you know, technologically anyway. Thank you for the book of Judges, although it is quite a disturbing account of evil and yuckiness often, but yet also, you know, um, you know, lets us know how it is that you've dealt with evil. And then just how you redeem us in our messes and in the even within the chaotic lives that we sometimes lead, that you redeem us and deliver us, and you use people too in our lives to bring healing and to bring deliverance, and ultimately Jesus the Messiah delivers us. I pray for everybody who's watching and listening that you would iron out the details of their lives. And so often our lives are full of mess and chaos and brokenness. And I pray that you give them hope in the midst of the brokenness, and show them your light that can illuminate the darkness, whatever the darkness is. Your light overcomes any darkness instantaneously. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem and for the peace of Israel, for the hostages to feel your presence and to be delivered, for anyone who's brokenhearted in any country, that you would comfort them. And I pray for my country, that you would protect us from ourselves, even. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen, everybody. All right. Bye. Sorry you're seeing the back of Guster's head. Guster, could you show yourself? Gussie. Gussie. Guster. Okay, never mind. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.